So hi again, and we have been a while since we talked over on Google Hangouts, Sophie, and we have today a topic that I think is always a very interesting topic. And today we are talking about customer service 2.0. So, is there a customer service 2.0? I think to introduce the question. And nowadays, we have some issues in terms of the client because he expects things in a different way. He expects to be surprised in every channel that the company enters in contact with him. But Sophie, do you think there is a customer 2.0 to have a customer service 2.0? And by the way, good morning, Sophie. I forgot to
Good
say
morning.
good morning.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think we have entered an era where we have quite, how can you say, we are demanding customers and we expect things to happen quickly and we expect a response. And I think that's driven by the digital change. The other day I got a letter from my local council where I live in London, and they said in the letter, it was about the collection of rubbish in the council. And they said, if you email this email address, we will reply within 10 days. I was thinking for myself, 10 days? It's 2 weeks. Is that really reasonable customer service? No, it's not. If the rubbish collection doesn't work, I want to reply quicker.
Well, I was smiling even a little bit more because I had some luggage problems. They destroy a part of my luggage in my last trip, and my airliner said, "Well, actually, the same 10 days to look through the claim."
Mm.
So if I would have to travel in the next 10 days with the same suitcase, I would be in a big trouble. But fortunately, I don't. But also, I would say that it's not only a question of time, but this new type of customer has a different type of perception of space. Because if you start thinking about it, it's more mobile, so we
Mm.
expect to have the answer through, for instance, a mobile app. Mobile apps are really creating a new kind of relationship with the customer, and the customer is getting used to it because
Mm.
he's downloading some apps in order to have this time and space in a different framework because it will be quicker and it will be anywhere. So that is also something that is also changing.
Mm.
Um, how we can create a new relationship with this customer 2.0, how we can create a new relation. And by the way, to our audience, we are available for questions. So
Yeah.
any questions that you want to put, you can put it, and we will be happy to answer. So Sophie, how can we create this new relation with customers? Tell me.
Yeah, I think first of all, brands need to care about the customers and learn about their journey and what they're going through when they are purchasing or engaging with you as a brand. And I often feel as if brands think that, yeah, we have this channel open for communication, but we're not really going to respond to it. We will see whether we're going to do it or not. So you have to feel like they have to build this trust that they will really look into the issue. And for getting that to work, I think they have to sort of broaden their view of what customer service actually is, because it's so much more of it's engagement service now as well. Is it because as customers we want to be facilitated by the brands we're engaging with. We want them to, maybe remind us that something is renewal is up to a year now, or they want us to we want to know about their latest offer, and to drop this information in a way which is not too intimidating, but actually is encouraging us to engage. That is the challenge.
So, by the way, are we going through a paradox where nowadays we talk about things that look like very impersonal, like data mining and big data, and at the same time, these are the tools that are helping companies and brands to have a
Mm,
more personal relationship with the customers, even though they are millions and everywhere in the world?
mm. Yeah, well, I believe that big data can be extremely helpful, but at the same time, if you use it in a way which is sloppy and you're not protecting the privacy, that's the big thing with it as well. Privacy. How are we going to handle our customers' privacy? But definitely, when you have all those data, you should use it in a sort of a sensible way and ethical way. And brands that are not ethical with the data that they collect, that is like the big question mark. Like that's what makes me sometimes feel a bit uncomfortable. And I know that, online, for instance, brands that do competitions, and if you fill in all your details there, they might just connect that with all other data that's online about you, and they can start tracking quite a few of your activities. So yeah, I think we have to be careful with the data, how we're using it, and what I've noticed in the last year when I've been to lots of conferences in marketing, big data is the big thing, and that is what we are quite confused about because it's so much out there. You need to be like a mathematician to understand it properly.
Well, nowadays, fortunately, we have a lot of programs and applications that can permit us to do some even visual interpretation of the data. So that helps. But there is a kind of new professions, new jobs that you have, like data scientists, because nowadays the data that you can collect from every channel of contact with the client is so huge that what it was normally called intuition, feeling, is not possible to use in when we are talking about millions of interactions with thousands or millions of clients. So if we have like 1,000 clients, probably we have like millions of interactions of small data that we are collecting even without almost noticing.
Mm,
So going through this of the big data and the data mining is also going to the other side. How
mm,
we can appear to the customer, in front of the customer, as something that the customer identifies as personal, because
mm,
nowadays we wake up and we are bombarded by marketing techniques that or try to create a relationship with us, or only are broadcasting like kind of message, my product is better than the competition or whatever. And how as a brand, what you would advise to do in order to get to that customer that has a lot of stimulus. He's on TV at the same time he's on the smartphone or in the computer, or hearing radio or whatever, or podcasts, or it's a lot of things at the same time. How
mm.
we can really have the attention of that customer?
Yeah, I think for brands, say big brands, I know lots of brands in the UK. They have a dedicated team that are looking after customer service in social media in a way which is personal, and they always refer to the same email address to get people to contact them and they're very helpful to everybody in that way. And I tried it out from quite a few of the channels on both Twitter and Facebook, and I feel that I get better customer service if I connect with their customer service on Twitter and Facebook than I would get if I call them. So they have done
Why do
something
you
to.
think that? Why do you think that? Why do you think that happens? I have the same feeling that
Yeah.
when you really want to solve something, you go through Facebook or Twitter. It's really and the more
Yeah.
complicated it is, the more easy it is to solve it like that. Why do
Yeah.
you think that happens?
I don't know. I don't know. Like for instance, I bought a very big expensive hair straightener, and part of the package was broken, and I wanted a new package. Just the box for it, and um, I emailed them, and the only thing the brand did was GHD. It's very exclusive. They added me to the email list, and they never replied. But when I complained on Facebook, I got a new box within 1 week sent to me. And I don't know, maybe it's like more visible for them. You know, you're 1 in a million complaining when you do it over the customer relationship management system, and then you're more unique when you do it over social media. And big brands, obviously, they need to have this sorted. They need to have that working, because people are unhappy with certain things and they will complain on social media. They will. And they need to have that sort of working together. And some, quite often customer service is outsourced quite far away, maybe not where the marketing team sits and works. So you have to have someone working as how do you say, like a team coordinator, that coordinating booth teams and making sure that they know about what's happening on a weekly basis. And customer service is also opening more hours. You know, it can be either 24/7 or from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. It's not uncommon. But other social media channels, you expect them to be more office hours if it's in a certain country. Of course, big brands such as British Airways, I would be very surprised if they don't have 24/7 airline customer support wherever you are. They have to have that.
Yeah, but also nowadays customer service, if you are a global brand, it's quite easy to have a 24/7 service. It's you only have to divide the work across the world. You can start in Japan, continue in India, then Europe, and then the United States, and then go back again to Japan. And everybody's working their normal schedules without any problem. But even I know brands that have their call centers in India, and they are working in U.S. time. So there are some Indian guys and women that are waking up at very strange hours and going to sleep at very strange hours because they are on U.S. time, depending if it's East Coast or West Coast. So even more strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've had both good and bad experiences with call centers in India. I do believe that brands that would like to have close support with their customers, they always need to be in the same kind of culture. When you have complex problems, it can be. This is my experience, that it's easier to solve them with someone who is in the same time zone and they're close to you.
Yeah, I remember a story of a call center in India that in order to let's say to get more close to the American reality, they started using American names instead of Indian names. So one of them chosen Lincoln. So he was Lincoln. So can you imagine you were being you are calling a customer service and Lincoln answers you? It's something amazing because
Yeah, that's quite nice.
and Lincoln with an Indian accent. What is even more interesting.
Yeah.
So, but what is your definition? I don't know if there was like a cut in our Google Hangout. How you define this new type of customer service that we are calling here in this Google Hangout customer service 2.0? What are the, let's say, the main features of this customer service 2.0?
Well, it's the ability to reply quickly. It's the ability to understand the customer and understand what kind of problems they will face, whatever it is. If you're a builder, what kind of problems will your customer face in the product, in the process when building a house? And I think it's about learning more about the customer journey, getting more into how can you connect and open up all the channels. So the classical channels is the phone and the email, and then what other channels out there is it, and how can you use them? Is it good for you to, when you're developing a new product, for instance, to have it in beta so your customers can comment on it directly? That is probably more for, I was thinking about, there is a borough in London. London has 30 different parts, so we call them borough. And one of them, Lambeth, they had their website redeveloped, and over quite a long time, at least 6 months, their customers, the people living in that part of London, could comment on the website and say, this is what we need, we don't need this, we don't need that. So I believe that, you know, being agile, being quick and understand and try to learn to understand. And sometimes I feel like brands, they are stuck in their old way of thinking. And that doesn't match the generation, because we are all in this, like we want a quick reply. I got devastated when I saw 10 days, they will reply within 10 days. You're like, this is a joke. They cannot be serious. Who do they expect to sort of accept that? And then the ability to understand the process and the ability to reply quickly and resolve the issues quicker. Because bad customer service can destroy your day. Seriously,
Yep.
you know, you have a bad experience and you are like depressed for the rest of the day. You're like, gosh, I'm never going to have any help here.
It's one of the interesting things is that normally I hear a lot of talking about branding
Mm,
uh, and how you have to invest on creating a brand and everything. But the interesting thing is that, in my view, the new battlefield of marketing um, is in reality is reputation. And the interesting part is that you cannot invest in reputation. You cannot get like my budget for reputation. Your budget for your reputation is your budget for
mm,
production, is your budget for the customer care service, for the call center, for
mm,
the shops. That is your budget for reputation. Reputation is made in every point that the customer enters in contact with the company, by
mm,
being in any channel, by being by phone, by what he sees, what even he gets from the group of friends that are also using the same brand. I have here actually Peter that was supposed to be with us, and he's not able because of technical issues. He's with us, but sending him messages through Google Plus, and he's suggesting an excellent book about changes that need to happen. Is the support economy, why corporations are failing individuals, and the next episode of Capitalism by Shoshana Zuboff and James Maxim. So this is a book suggestion from Peter that he would love to be here with us, and we would love to have him here, but it was not possible. Well,
mm.
because of the famous Murphy's Law. So it's always complicated. That also affects customer service sometimes, because also nowadays we could say that we are very dependent on the technology in order to give good customer service. Wouldn't you say this? So
Yeah, of course, it has to work.
if
When something is not working, say in London, Heathrow, we have all been there. When something is not working there, the amount of stress they're causing for thousands of people every hour is ridiculous.
Yeah. So maybe more training in let's say low tech backup plans should be a part of customer service 2.0. That is
Yeah,
to not trust completely technology that will save the day, but some days it could be the cause of bad customer service.
yeah, it can. Like, I think it should be compulsory for companies to do. If they invest in, say, a new IT system, say the cost of that IT system is £10,000, they probably need to invest £90,000 in education and training for the people going to use it. Otherwise, they're not going to be aware how to make it work properly. And who's gonna be the one who are suffering? Well, first of all, the people who don't know how to work it, and then the customers. And if you are investing in new technology, you need to learn how to manage it. That's a key.
I have another thing shared by Peter Milligan, a situation that he had recently. I've had a difficult time getting to speak to a person in the bank about a mortgage issue. So I've reverted to going through LinkedIn to find sufficiently senior person to get some attention. I might also start putting stuff on Twitter. Call centers are full of people following a rule book and scripts to do their job properly. The only thing is that they are not solving the customer real problem. Companies have people watching Twitter feeds to ensure that there is no brand damaging stuff out there and moving quickly to resolve this content. That's, let's say, a kind of answer to that question that I posed before about why social media really is more watched by companies in terms of customer service than, for instance, when we call a call center. And Peter continues, Amazon is clearly a company that was designed from the ground up with the customer in mind. In the summer, I received a damaged book 2 days before going on a holiday. When I went to the website, they made it super easy to get for me to get a replacement really quickly. So different to my experience with traditional company, that is traditional retailers, major airliners or banks, and that's customer service, and I agree with this that Peter is sharing. Customer service is really not only a service. First you have to build it around the client. So what are their specific needs? How we can attend them? How we can make it a personal experience. If not, it will be like talking to a machine. And I really find, I don't know if you agree with me, but I find so annoying that kind of systems that you have to press 1 for this, press 3 for that. Okay, when I go first level, it's okay. But when you have like 4 or 6 levels and some of them are going to dead ends, that is really, really annoying. But companies think that they are really they are dealing with the process in their point of view. So they are okay. In this way, for us, it's easier to attend the customer needs. So we divide the customer in several types, and sometimes you really don't understand what in which category you are. And what is even worse is when you end up in a dead end, when there is no now, thank you, bye, and that's it.
And that takes like 10 minutes to get there.
Yeah. So you lose because our scarce resource is time. The minute that just passed, we will not ever have it. It's done. And many times customer service is more worried on the time that they are spending, that the customer is spending on them. So that's why I think the idea that Peter just put here is very interesting, because it's this: if you are thinking, okay, how much time the customer spends with us instead of how much time we spend with the customer, it's flipping the concept.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that many companies have that as a key performance indicator, how long time it takes to serve a customer, and like how many interactions and things. And if you use these KPIs well, you can probably improve. But of course, like for me, for instance, I've also had, I tried to make a phone call this morning. I ended up in one of those calls queues with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they had like a long presentation, probably like 1 minute before they actually came to the options. And I didn't really understand all options. I had to listen to that introduction again for 1 minute before I could press again. And I'm like, okay. And then I ended up in a queue, and I was number 10 for, say, 10 minutes. And then I gave up. I'm like, I don't have time for this. Bye. And that kind of thing, I wonder if that ever will be measured. Will they ever measure that pain that I had to feel for 10 minutes before, like, yeah, anyway, I'm not sure about the software that they have, but for me it just feels really
Technically,
lost.
is possible to measure the lost calls in the process, but
Mm,
the thing is that we really don't know what are the consequences of the lost calls. Is that
mm,
we change provider, for instance,
mm,
or we are telling that experience to 10 colleagues or posting in on Facebook, check out what this happened,
mm,
and this situation. I remember. I remember a kind of customer service. I always give this as an example of customer service from hell, because it's interesting how when things are too scripted and there is no backup plan, what happens. So this was actually a while ago, but the story is still interesting. I had an issue with a home banking website that every page was a secure server, and these were the beginning of DSL connections.
mm,
So I really had a very new DSL modem. I was so happy because my connection was 128K. So wow, fantastic connection. I was really happy. Fantastic speed. Now I have only 1,000 times more, but it's not. But at the time was like that. So I was using my home banking service like I was doing it before with the same modem. Okay. And one day I couldn't go further than the first page of that website because it wouldn't download the page. Okay, now what is the problem? I don't know. So I tried to go to the page where the contacts were. So that was one of the pages on the website that I couldn't open. So I had to phone the bank to ask for the phone of the webs or of the support of the website in order to understand what was happening. They gave me the phone. Okay, I call, and I said, well, okay, this is the problem. I have this issue, and I cannot access any other page than the home page of the website. Okay, so they asked me which kind of modem are you using, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I said, well, this one. Oh, we are having some issues with that modem. You have to talk with your internet provider in order them to change your modem in order to access our web page. And I'm like, I have to change a modem to access a web page so I can access everything on the internet except yours. So I have to change my modem. I said, this is crazy. You are crazy. So
mm,
I want to make a complaint. And he says, well, to make a complaint, you have to go yes, to that place with the contacts. And I'm like, uh, I think you didn't follow me. In order to go there, I have to have the website working. So I cannot have access. So I want to make a complaint in other way. So I want to come you are recording the call, wherever. I want to talk with your supervisor. I want to make a complaint. No, the only possibility is to go through that.
mm. That's
So,
nice.
so it was nice because if we check the KPIs of these guys, there was no complaint. So because
Mm,
I couldn't access, so nobody could have access. Nobody was complaining. Everything was fine, but the reputation was going down because of that, of course. But then
mm,
they did some magic and my modem started to work with that web page. So I don't know. But just in case, I've filed a complaint using that famous link, and till now, and several years have passed, I'm waiting for the answer. So even their system that was theoretically in place was not. So
mm,
many times I think that we see that there is like a culture of seeing complaints. Okay, this is really boring. We have people are complaining, but when the people that complain are the only ones that are giving us a second chance. The people
mm,
that don't complain are the ones that are going bye bye and never to see more.
Yeah.
So that's something that we have to understand in customer service, that now is more visible because of the social media. You
Yeah.
can have more visibility. That's why people on social media are getting answers faster than are getting through other means like phoning or even going to a shop, because they are visible. It's like shouting in a shop. Everybody stops. What's happening? So, but when you start shouting in a shop, you lose a lot of your argument. The same way
Mm.
when you start writing in caps lock in terms of a complaint on social media. So it's more or less the same thing,
Mm.
but you get the attention. So
Yeah.
now customer service is becoming more and more social.
Yeah, it's very helpful actually. And like just one thing that I thought about is the case with TripAdvisor. It's a case that happened in the UK a few weeks ago. A couple, they were in Blackpool in the UK, and they stayed in a very cheap hotel, and they then got the most awful customer service they had ever, and they didn't do anything about it. They complained to the person in the reception, and nobody helped them. Nobody did anything about it. So they wrote a negative TripAdvisor, yeah, what to say,
A
like
review.
testimonial, yeah, review, exactly. And then they were fined £100 by the hotel. And yeah, I had no idea even that was allowed to do, but they were fined, and then they were disputing it, and it was in the national news all over the UK, and everybody thought it was awful. But things like that can actually destroy a brand. If you're unlucky, you can be totally destroyed by your customers' reviews. But I appreciate very much when you can read review. As me as a customer, if I can read reviews by others, I can often see if they are true or not. There's a restaurant quite local where I live in West London. They had amazing reviews on TripAdvisor, and it sounded as it was the most busy and best place ever. Then when we came there, it was like it's in the shadow of the street, no lights around it, and there was no people in there. We were like, no, they must have bought these reviews. And I went back and I had a look at TripAdvisor, and I felt, no, the people here, they have been paid. And since then, I've been very, very sort of suspicious to too many positive reviews. And I think that is coming into the customer awareness 2.0. That customer awareness is more like what is true and what is not true. What kind of testimonials and reviews can we actually trust?
We have a last comment from Peter. The Support Economy book says most companies are built around standard enterprise logic, which
Mm-hmm.
actually puts themselves at the center rather than the customer, despite what they say about the customer being central. The behavior and systems clearly show what they are giving priority to in the process, like we were talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
We spend huge amounts of time grappling with automation and processes that doesn't deal with the core issue. It seems as they are using technology to build a wall between themselves and us. Amazon uses technology to make things easier, and if there is a more complex issue, they have people available to resolve it. By the way, Peter is not working on Amazon, but you see how a good customer service makes somebody like Peter an ambassador, a brand ambassador, and that is reputation. That is good reputation.
Mm.
So, Sophie, we are reaching our end, and do you want to add a last note about customer service, to give a little bit time also if we have questions from the audience? Is your last chance
Yeah, well,
to.
I have one comment here. I think as customers, we have to demand better customer service, and we should point that out. And brands that mess around with my time and my life and makes me depressed, I don't wish them well at all. We should really stand up for ourselves more often
Yeah,
and complain on social media. It's amazing.
yeah. And it works.
Mm.
Sophie, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk. It has been a while since we did our Google Hangouts, but we had
Yeah.
holidays and we are busy people that are going around the world, and that's also is a some. Sometimes it's complicated to get the right time schedule. So,
Mhm.
Sophie, once more, thank you very much for sharing this experience and knowledge about customer service in this 2.0 era. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.